What up, everybody? It's April Dawn. Let's talk about it. This is The Passage, Season 1, Episode 4 or 5? 4. All right, y'all. Pretty good episode. We moving right along. Yeah, let's go ahead and get into it. A man named Horace Gilder arrives. He is the Deputy Department Director of Defense or something like this. And he arrives to Clark, and he tells Clark when they're walking that they need to have some positive results. They're $100 billion or $1 billion in or something like that. So, you know, they need to have some positive results. And Brad and Amy are talking. He's basically giving us the rundown on who this guy is. And he's probably have arrived there because of what happened to Polson last week. And he's basically telling Amy, Brad is asking Amy whether she's ready she down to ride out. Okay, and Amy like, listen, I'm ready. You got a plan? Okay, we ready. We ready to get up out of here. Then we see Clark and Horace again while Brad and Amy are talking about a disabled door alarm that they saw, you know, from the roof of the tree house. And, you know, they're going to be able to get out through this alarm that the waiters and waitresses or the food people, you know, used to go smoke a cigarette or whatever. They also talk about this leads to a drainage system that's probably not in use anymore and they can get out. And she started talking about spiders and messing with him. It was a real cute little moment. So Horace is telling Clark that he needs to meet with Amy without Brad present. So, you know, he breaking a promise that said that he will leave them together. Jonas is with Sykes, and he's telling her that he needs to go down there and be with the vampires. Okay, that's because that's what they is. They vampires, all right? So he's telling them he need to go down there and be with the Walking Dead because he might turn. So if he turn, he don't want to be around nobody. Plus, that'll put him out of commission while Gilder is there. He don't want to be bothered with him either. And so he's like, well, what are you going to tell him? She's like, I'm going to tell him the truth. The truth is we have created a species, like I've been saying for 3 weeks or 4 weeks at this point, that they don't know their capabilities. And now that species is kind of out of control and, you know, it's trying to destroy them as a race. And he's like, okay, well, good luck with that. I guess I'm gonna leave you down in this hole then. Okay, I don't think you got it. You're not infected. I think you good though. We see Fanning looking at Jonas and he's kind of remembering, or Fanning is in his cell. I don't think he was with Jonas at this time, but he was remembering like what's, you know, the past of Jonas's wife. So I'm like, okay, Fanning and Jonas's wife must have had a little thing going on. So we see them at dinner. Jonas is speaking to his students. We also see Jonas going to visit her in present time at the facility that she's in, okay? And we can see that she's pretty far gone at this point. We see Lacey praying to the sun, guys. She's trying to figure out what's going on. She's saying that, you know, she's a little bit lost and she talking to X. I don't know X name. Somebody put X name in the comments for me, okay? So I could figure out this girl name. But she says, you know, what do you do when you feel like you lost? And X is like, listen, I go back to my roots. I rely on my training. You know, I go back to what I know. And she says, okay, let's do that. See Sykes talking with Gilder. She's telling him that they need to end the experiment. Basically, this is a total fail. We need to just kill everybody that's a part of the experiment, okay, except for the little girl. The little girl is showing, you know, she's doing remarkably well. And then this other doctor, you know, she basically like, we need to shut this down. You need to shut us down. And he's basically saying that he's now the deputy department head or something like that of special weapons. So what he wants to do is to weaponize this little girl, Project Noah, okay, and weaponize this little girl is basically what they're saying. Sykes is like, listen, I wouldn't have signed on to be, you know, messing with no kids and turning them into weapons. I thought I was trying to cure a disease. And he was like, you know, well, you know, now it's time to take things in a new direction, girl. We got several labs working on that. We gonna be all good on that front, so we'll be good, okay? She like, fuck what you talking about. And I said what I said. I'm not about to get involved with this. And then another doctor sitting next to her, he's like, well, you know, it's one thing, you know, that I think we can fix up. Because basically, like, if she can read minds, you know, we can do amazing things with her as a weapon, basically is what he's saying. And so the other doctor, instead of, you know what I'm saying, he folded and was like, you know, well, I think it's one thing we can fix. And so Gilder is like, okay, well, you got 24 hours to show me to prove her wrong. Brad is going over the plan with Amy, and she's like, I know what you said. You said it like 50 times already. And he was like, no, I haven't even said it one time, girl. Like, are you reading my mind? And she was like, yeah, I'm so sorry. It just happens sometimes. You know, it just started happening. And Clark comes in, and that's when they take Brad out and they bring him to like another basement, you know, off the, you know, rack room, bottom room at the White House type Olivia Pope shit, okay? And they start to beat him up. We see X and Lacey at a church. Turns out this is the nunnery that Lacey used to belong to. Sister Mary Clarence was looking at her like, girl, you tried it. Why are you here? And she was like, they need a place to stay. And so X said, listen, we'll help out because we know you help with the community. You know, can you just let us stay? And she like, all right, you can stay for one night. Cool. We see Jonas with his wife again at the facility that she's at right now, and he's like, listen, you know, the plan didn't work. And she don't have no idea what he talking about, girl. She is in La La Land. She don't know what this nigga talking about, okay? Basically, like, it didn't work. You know, the plan didn't go forth as it was planned. Like, I was trying to be selfish. I done messed around and ended the whole world, child. Clark and Sykes talk, and she basically telling him that they want to make Amy a weapon. And Clark is like, listen, I'm just here to follow orders. Like, you thought that the government wasn't going to weaponize this little girl? Like, they wasn't going to find out what they was going to do and weaponize this? I saw a whole documentary about how anytime there's like a scientific advancement that can be weaponized, that the government will always weaponize. Like, you remember when the little tanker drones came out and they looked at the bomb, you know, and they looked at with the camera on it just to kind of see what was going on when they were doing bomb threats. So as soon as they perfected that technology, they weaponized it. Now those things have bombs on it, okay? And then the drones didn't have weapons on them at first, and now drones have weapons. So it's like, and I watched the whole thing about the android, the robots that people are making, like from iRobot, that you thought was like science fiction, but that's like becoming real in real life. And how once they perfect that technology, even the scientists were saying, you know, we're getting to really close to the point where it's almost human-like, or the robot is very, you know, usable, like user-friendly. So basically, you know, once we get crack this code, and, you know, this becomes something that people can buy, that the government will probably weaponize it. So it's some truth to that, you know, it's some truth to that. So, you know, you got to stay woke, okay? Stay woke. Stay woke. Sykes is like, listen, I called the DOD, okay? And they told me that they didn't tell you not to execute Shauna. So you making that up. Now you need to let me know, is Shauna inside of your brain? Because if she is, I can help you. We can work through this or whatever. But you got to tell me. And here go Clark again in denial. I don't know what you're talking about. Boy, if you don't tell somebody this little girl is telling you what to do, I said, child, I cannot with Clark. This is a whole mess. He needs to get it together. So he lie and say, you know, he don't know what she talking about, and she, you know, looking at him like, boy, that girl is talking to you. Like, what's tea? Is this happening? It's happening, and you're lying to me about it. We see the guard talking to Jonas. He is now down in the pod, you know, with the rest of the, you know, subjects or whatever, locked up in a little glass cage, and he's telling him, you're gonna be all right. It's gonna be all good. I don't think you infected, but don't stare at Fanning. Don't look at him. I'm dead serious. But of course he stares at him. Of course he looks at him. And then we're back into a flashback. We see Fanning and Jonas's wife talking at the table. They're basically talking about, you know, Jonas is up there talking. They making small talk. Jonas is speaking to his students. And Fanning talk about he's sober, so obviously he had a problem with alcohol. He's asking her about the marriage, and she's like, you know, marriages have its ups and downs. And he offers to take her home. And when he offers to take her home, he stands up and asks Jonas. And Jonas is like, yeah, you know, take her home. Like, he's so enraptured talking to his students that he didn't even pay his wife no damn attention, okay? She says he's about to go out for months out of town. You know, he about to go out of town and, you know, be gone all the way till Christmas, and it's the last night and he not spending it with her. So you can tell he's trying to get his swerve on, okay? So then we see Horace. He's meeting with Amy, and he's basically giving her this little basic ass talk. We know Amy is very advanced, so she calling him out on the bullshit like right from the beginning, okay? So Sykes comes in because she wants to watch the meeting, and so he asks her about friends. Has she made any friends? And she's like, yeah, you know, I talked to the agents, I've talked to Sykes, and now I'm talking to you. And he was like, have you talked to Anthony? And she says, nah, I haven't talked to him. You know, he's gone now. And she's like, you're a bad guy. And he's like, why do you say that? You know, are you reading my mind? And she was like, no, I'm not reading your mind. And he's like, well, you know, if you could read my mind, you would be special. You know, don't everybody, you know, all little girls want to be special. And then Sykes is like, nah, stop this. Okay, this is enough. You're doing too much. You done. So you can fire me. You can, you know, strip me of my clearance or whatever, but for right now, you need to get up here because you get up out of here because you upset my patient. And so she walks her out, and as she's walking her out, she's telling her, listen, you ever, you know, thought about you and Brad getting up out of here, busting about this place? And she was like, girl, we already got the plan going. She was like, all right, sis, I'm about to help you, girl. Let's activate this black girl magic and make this happen, okay? We see Brad back in the basement room, and then we see him falling asleep, and Anthony has come into his dreams. So Anthony is sitting on the porch at his mama house in Texas, okay? He drinking some tea. The mama come out and was like, listen, my baby ain't do it. He innocent, okay? He is innocent. He did not commit the crime, but he did the time, okay? I just wanted to let you know that while you here. And she go back up in the house. And he said, you know, this the perks of, I guess, one of the perks that he can come there anytime he want. He can chill and have some tea or whatever. And he tells him that Fanning is not his only problem, that they're trying to weaponize Amy. And and you know, Brad is like, I'm going to save her. You know, we going to run. And he was like, how you going to outrun the end of the world? And he says, basically, the game has changed at this point. So Amy is going to be the saver, okay? So your job is going to be to prepare her what is coming next for what's coming next. She is going to be the person that's going to save everybody. Brad still haven't, like, comprehended everything that this man just said to him. He's trying to tell him that the end of the world is coming. And, you know, Amy is going to be the one who's going to save us from the end of the world, from these creatures. And you're going to have to be, like, a guidance for her, okay? She's going to be protecting you after a while. Back in the F4 down with the zombie, you know, the Walking Dead and / vampires, they come down there to get Winston, the other doctors. Honey, this was a whole mess. So then we back in the flashback with Fanning. So Fanning is still with Jonas's wife. They flirt around as he walks her home. He tells her that he's in love with her. And she was like, damn, you know, that was our subtext. You know, now it's just text. And they kiss each other. And so he appears in Jonas's cell after that and says he should have told him, or Jonas tells him, you should have told me that you liked it. And he said, well, you know, I begged you to kill me, and instead you put me in a prison, so I ain't really felt like talking at that point. Jonas said, well, I didn't kill you because I thought I could save you. He needs to be trying to save his wife. Like, why would he do his wife like this? This is what Fanning is saying to Jonas. Why would you do your wife like that? Instead of trying to save me, you should have been trying to save her. And he says, you know, I didn't, you know, not try to not save her. It's just she have a progressive disease, you know. And he was like, well, I bet I could save her. And he's like, what do you mean you could save her? I can, you know, do you remember the night when I took your wife home from, you know, the when you was talking, the lecture? And he's like, yeah, I remember the night. And then he's like, you know, Carter gave me, he was like, I'm not about to do this with you. He says, Carter gave me the message that you sent, which was, we already changed the world. And he was like, what did that mean? And he says, well, you'll find out. We see Sykes come down and free Brad, and she tells him that, you know, there's a doctor at a certain school that they need to go to that deals with infectious diseases, and she gave him the recommendation. And then she hugs Amy and tells her that she has a light inside of her, and for her always to remember that, and they give their goodbyes. And then we see the other doctors, they working on Winston. They putting a telepathic thing in, trying to get, you know, the doctor to tell Winston to do, you know, X, Y, and Z, and Winston gonna do it. So Winston comes alive, quite a funny character, you know, talks about, you know, whatever he talking about. They release his restraints, and then the doctor asks him to do certain things, and he does the things. Immediately when he was doing it, I was like, doctor, he's bullshitting you, doctor. He's not really doing this because you told him to do it. He's just doing it to make you think that you in control, and you're not. So they're all amazed, like, oh my God, we did it. They all excited, thinking that, you know, shit is copacetic, and it ain't. So we see Brad and Amy trying to escape. He tells him that, you know, she saw Shauna. She came to her and she was scared, and she told her she was a part of a family and all these different things. And Brad is telling her, no, you are part of my family. You are not a part of her family. You are part of my family. And then she's like, well, why are you so nice to me? He tells her the story about his daughter and how he lost somebody very close to him. He pushed everybody away. And then, you know, he started doing things he wasn't supposed to do. And then he met her. And now he's changed. Things are different. She says she don't just hear his thoughts. She can hear thoughts from everybody. You know, she hears all the bad thoughts, and they saying some real bad shit, like they about to turn up. And so he tells her to tell a story about her best day ever, and she starts telling the story. Now we back with Winston at the facility. Now Horace is there. He wants to see the presentation. So the doctor, you know, who did it the other day, he put on the machine or whatever, and, you know, nothing is working. And so, you know, Horace is like, listen, I'll come back when you got something going on, okay? Fanning goes to Elizabeth again, and she doesn't remember him. She like sitting in a, you know, a park or something like that. So he going to her like in the vision inside of her brain, basically, and trying to talk to her. And he tells her, she tells him that she's lost. She left her house, and she don't know, you know, how she gonna get back. She have no idea who she is. He says he wants to help her, and then she talks about she should have brought her sweater because the weather is cold. And so he changes the weather, and she's like, who are you? And he tells her her name. He tells her that she's a writer. She's brilliant. She's funny, she's smart, and, you know, and he loves her. And he said that she was like, well, do I know you? He was like, yeah, I know you, and I'm gonna help you, you know, and get back to where you were. You see the guard at the same time is watching Fanning, you know, do this, be inside this woman's brain, and he jumps up and runs out. Clark is questioning his men about Brad and Amy being missing, obviously. And Shauna comes to him again and is like, you know, Nicole is making you look really bad. That's Dr. Sykes. Nicole is making you look really bad. And, you know, they about to get up out of there. And she know where they hid them. They hid them in the blood closet or the blood cooler. So down on in the blood cooler, we see Brad and Amy. They waiting on Dr. Sykes like she told them to. And some guys come in there to, you know, bring some blood down there. And they find her. They find Amy because she accidentally walk out. And then Brad beat him up. And he like, we got to go. Okay, she ends up leaving her book down there. But they can't go back down there to get it. Then we see Lacey and X at the church. And Lacey says that, you know, she finally believes that, you know, she has found her calling, and her calling is for her to help Amy, for her to protect her. She said, I don't know why, I don't know how I'm going to go about it, but I feel like I have to protect her and prepare her for this work, for a storm that's coming. She said she feels stirring in her body. And then the ex prays. You know, she prayed for Brad, she prayed for Amy, she prayed for, you know, that they don't get hurt. And as she's praying, somebody that's masked walks up and snatch her away, child. I said, uh-oh, she done got snatched away. Clark confronts Sykes about Brad and Amy being missing, and he tells her to come upstairs while everything is going on. And she tells him, I hope you never find them, okay, bitch? I hope you never find them, ever. The doctor go up in there with Winston like, you know what, Winston? We about to make it happen because I'm tired of you, and I'm going to conquer you, okay? So he go up in there, child, and I was like, it's a wrap for you by himself, first of all, which was a bad move. So he starts to put the stuff on, but then Winston just pop up in his head like he ain't even got the equipment on. He like, wait a minute. This whole scene was kind of stupid to me because the doctor was like, who turned on the light? It was you. It was you, Doc. Who opened the door? It was you, Doc. I said, child, if he asks one more damn question, it was you, fool. Instead of him controlling Winston, Winston was controlling him. He got him to let him out the restraints. He got him to open the door. And then he told him, baby, you better run, baby. Run. So as Brad and Amy are getting out, you know, they sneaking out. They hear the alarm that's going off. But the alarm is for, oh, boy, Winston out there, you know, because he done got out. And so then we see the officers coming in to Jonas's, you know, pod after the aftermath because the doctor got out. He ran to Jonas for help. And you know, Winston came out and ate him up, baby, like a fresh, you know what I'm saying, Thanksgiving ham. Okay, he ate him up like oh my God, he ate him up. I said, oh Jesus. So yeah, the guards come and Jonas is like, let me out. Fannin is coming to Jonas while he's telling the guards to let him out. Basically, he says, this is a curveball, you know, for both of us. I didn't expect this, you know. This is a lose-lose. It's bad for both of us, you know. And Jonas, you know, basically goes in and tells him, you know, yeah, my wife messed up with you, but we fixed it. She told me what happened, and we fixed it because we loved each other, and our marriage was more important. And it just seems like you never got over it, okay? You lost. Like, she never loved you, and she never will love you. And then we see the guards let him out. And then he then goes to Elizabeth at the facility, and when he sees her sitting in a wheelchair, she's like, Jonas, and she stands up, she hugs him, she remembers him, and as she's hugging him, he can see that there's a syringe on the table. So basically, she done got stuck some kind of way. Somebody done came up in there and stuck her with this virus. So now she have the virus. She remembers what's going on. But, you know, soon enough, she's going to turn. And then on top of that, now the virus is outside of the clinic, you know, the facility. So now it's going to be other people that's going to be getting infected. They're not going to be able to contain this. And this is what's going to happen. It's going to spread all over the world, and the world is going to end. We see Brad and Amy. They're running. And she telling him, don't go this way. And he like, nah, we got to go this way. She like, nah, don't go this way. I can hear him. He coming. So coming through the thing is none other than Winston, honey. Winston come on out there, and Brad go to fight him. And, you know, he about to eat Brad up. And Amy starts screaming at the top of her lungs. And her scream, like, pushes him back. He flies off. And Brad was like, oh, shit, you did that? And she was like, yeah, I did that shit. And he was like, oh, shit. Okay. And so he hugs her, and that's how the show goes on. Overall, I thought it was a pretty good show. It looks like next week we still not gonna be, you know, the things ain't gonna escape. Like, goddamn, how long it's gonna be before the things escape? Because that's what we trying to see. This the thing about end of the world shows. It's like, it's gonna take them forever to get to the end of the world to get going. You know what I'm saying? Overall, it was an okay episode. I'm still a little heavy-handed with the father-daughter references. We get it. She's a part of your family. We get it. She can always tell you anything. Like, we get it. We get it. As far as the Anthony storyline is the most interesting to me out of the whole thing, because after he turned, like, where is he now? Is he back in the cage? We didn't even see him this episode other than him sitting on the porch. So, like, how is his character is, like, in between? He's turned, but he's not, like, fully turned because he still got enough sense to know, you know, when he come into dreams or whatever, it's different. I don't know, it's different. So I want to hear your thoughts about Anthony. I want to hear your thoughts about the whole thing. Did you like it? What you think about the whole series so far? Just let me know in the comments, okay? So like I don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to comment. Don't forget to like my video. Please like my video and come on and subscribe. You know, you here. You might as well go ahead and do it. If you want to follow me on social media, you can at whoisaprildon on Twitter, on Snapchat, and on Instagram. I'm on Instagram the most, okay? I'm not a super social media person, but I do post on social media sometimes. All right, so I'll holler at y'all next week. Peace.